Information fueled.
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
8:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Partly cloudy today. A high of 101. Going to feel like 107. There is a horrifying story out of Aurora, Colorado. I had mentioned this earlier, where this dangerous gang out of Venezuela, the Tren de Aragua gang, has literally taken over an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. And our next guest is Danielle Jurinsky, who is on the Aurora City Council. And I mean, safe to say, Danielle, that this is horrifying for the people who live at this apartment complex. And for folks who want to know the video that is associated with this story that I'm going to mention in a second, follow me on Twitter at Dan Mandis Show. There's a video that was making the rounds yesterday where you've got all these Venezuelans running around this apartment complex with, I mean, some pretty high caliber firepower, Danielle. And so now you're trying to help the people that live here. So let's zoom out a little bit. Where in Aurora, Colorado is this? Aurora is right outside of Denver. This is about, 11 miles or so outside of Denver?
Well, we border Denver. And where this is happening, the part of Aurora that this is happening, maybe a stone's throw away from Denver. Within a mile, there is one complex. First, let me tell you, there's multiple complexes under this gang control. It's not just the one that was released yesterday. There's multiple. One of them is a little further into Aurora, but for the most part, this is all northwest Aurora, which borders right up to Denver.
Now, Denver is a sanctuary city, and we'll get to all that in a second. But talk about how big are these apartment complexes? How many people live there? Just so few people have an idea as to the extent of the problem.
Well, from what I'm piecing together, they usually have somewhere between 60 and 90 units. So there may be a little bit smaller complexes. As of right now, it's really hard to tell. The folks that I helped move out of this complex yesterday, the ones who were able to finally release this video footage, Dan, I don't know how many original tenants are still there. What is happening is these complexes are under complete gang control. And when somebody moves out, when somebody leaves, they go in, they take pictures of the apartments, and they're then brokering them themselves. I'm told that within 3 hours, a Venezuelan migrant family is moved in, and they are paying the rent to the gang members. Essentially, they are extorting their own people.
Who owns these apartment complexes? I mean, there's big companies that own these apartment complexes. Can nobody do anything?
Well, there's different people that own some of these different complexes, and you're right. That they are companies. I will tell you, in the video, that the photos haven't been released yet, and I'm working on making this happen. But they came in and they beat up the staff. They beat them up. One of the property managers was hospitalized. They start threatening them. And that is how, slowly but surely, there's no staff at any of these apartment complexes. And as you saw in the video yesterday, they actively patrol these properties heavily armed.
So I love this. KDVR, which is local television there, as you know, in Denver, reporting that they're not aware of any apartment buildings being taken over by gangs, and that the safety of residents is a top priority, according to police. So what are the police doing?
Well, I think that statement you read is from Denver. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but what's interesting and why I actually appreciate that statement is because prior to yesterday and prior to this video being released, I have worked so hard on my own, essentially, to try and expose what is going on. And for the most part, the local media here has just tried to downplay it and bury it. But yesterday, that video coming out, it's undeniable. And so within about 20 minutes of that video coming out, Denver released that statement. And while they're saying that in Denver, they're unaware of any properties being taken over, they've at least acknowledged that the Trende Aragua gang is here. So we have some progress there, actually, Dan.
So let me ask, they're coming into Denver. You've got these sanctuary cities. Is Colorado an official sanctuary state, or is it just, I mean, what's the sanctuary status of Colorado? I know that Denver, I believe, is a sanctuary city, right?
Yes, Denver is. Aurora is not. But if you look at the entire state of Colorado, I believe we would be considered very much a sanctuary state. And interestingly enough, on that, our governor, Jared Polis, he has yet to be seen or heard on any of this.
Why? What are these governors so afraid of? This is what I don't understand. Well, Polis is a Democrat, right?
Yes.
So Polis is a Democrat. He's trying to protect the party. So he doesn't want to talk about this because these are Joe Biden's, illegal aliens coming across our southern border. And we have been talking about this on talk radio for years regarding the dangers that are coming across the southern border. So the governor is silent on this. Does Aurora have like a mayor, or, I mean, you're on the city council, but is there anyone else that is helping these people? Because this is not going to stay with these few apartment complexes. I mean, this is going to, as you know, spread.
And it already is. He took the approach to move in and shut down one of these properties under the guise of code enforcement violations. And so when that happened, this gang problem was not addressed. And so as you can imagine, they have been pushed on. They have moved on to other complexes. They've moved their guns, they've moved their cash, they've moved the drugs, all into other apartment complexes. I had one property owner tell me that one of his units was taken over, and when the police let them in to this unit, that was a unit of a good tenant, by the way. When the police let them into the unit, it was filled with guns, cash, and huge barrels of gasoline. I am being told that they are running a black market on gasoline. To this day, those property owners have no idea what happened to their tenant.
When you are dealing with all of this, and you're doing amazing work. Number one, what were these neighborhoods like before the Venezuelans moved in? Were they, were they on the lower end? Were they middle class? How would you classify them? This area, parts of this area, they've always been considered lower income. But when I physically went to this complex yesterday, and the reason that this video footage was released yesterday is because I went to this complex and physically moved this family out of their apartment. So they finally felt safe enough to release this video footage. So in speaking with this family, the woman told me, because I asked her that exact question, and she said, before this, she said, the biggest thing that would happen is maybe sometimes there would be a homeless person asleep in the stairwell. And, we would say, hey, you've got to move on. And they would get up and they would move. There was no issues. So this went from dealing with, a homeless person from time to time asleep in the stairwells to, as you saw in the video yesterday, this gang actively patrolling this property with guns. I got to tell you, listening to this, I mean, I know that there's people around Middle Tennessee. We're in Tennessee, Nashville. And I know that people are thinking, my Lord, could this happen to, a community in Tennessee? Because again, when you hear the story, these folks were basically shipped into Denver, but they didn't stay in the Denver city limits. They found a place where they could take over, and that is exactly what they did. And again, this Trende Aragua gang, I mean, they are been known to force women into prostitution, murder, drug dealing, assaults, and everything else. how does the rest of the city council, does anybody have any thought as to how to get these folks out of there and, I don't know, maybe deport them?
Well, first of all, there's only been a couple of my colleagues on the city council that have truly taken me seriously while I've been sounding the alarm on this. So first of all, not the entire city council is unified in this on there is a problem and there are people, that need help and we need to do something about this. As far as
can I ask Danielle, hold on.
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy, but I will. Are the ones that want to not take care of this, do they have a political affiliation? Are they up more on the left and the ones that want to take care of this on the right?
The ones that don't want to take care of it are definitely on the left. The ones that know about it and but are helping to bury it and not wanting to take action with me are on the right.
It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, go ahead. So the city council, by and large, are they not going to do anything officially?
Well, as of yesterday, and with this footage, and as you said, this has gone international now, they are going to be forced. The city, but understand, this is bigger than just one local law enforcement agency. So to think that the Aurora Police Department can take this on themselves and deal with this and all of these various properties, we need state and federal help. So I think what has been accomplished with the video footage coming out yesterday is that our governor will be forced to do something and the federal government will be forced to do something.
Is there a sort of a high pressured campaign that local conservatives in Colorado can do? I used to live in Colorado. I know some of them. Is there some sort of a high pressure campaign that can be done to get Jared Polis, the governor, to get off the fence on this and actually do something?
Well, I think you're seeing that now. I think you're seeing this now. That this became so huge yesterday. It's going to be all over local news today. I'm doing more interviews. I'll be on Fox News National today and tomorrow. Again, I think for as much as they wanted to ignore me, as much as they wanted to pretend this wasn't existing and they would get away with just ignoring me and I wouldn't do anything about it, they're going to be forced to now.
Danielle, are the gangs, do they know who you are? Do they... Are they understanding that you are sounding the alarm? And do you yourself feel like you might be in any danger?
That's an interesting question because I think about that every single day. I have no confirmation that they know who I am, but I'm sure they do. My name is everywhere. My photo is everywhere. I am doing all kinds of interviews to get this out to the people. I'm sure they do. Now, whether or not they would know how to find me, these are all things that I have thought about. But I proudly support the Second Amendment, and I would do whatever I had to do to defend myself.
Danielle, you're doing incredible work. I don't even know how to tell you how grateful I am that you're doing what you're doing, because you are, in my opinion, putting yourself at risk for what is right. And I will tell you, I appreciate what you're doing. I know that a lot of other people there in Aurora and Colorado do as well. So good luck, and good luck with all the media appearances. And we'll be keeping track of what happens here on WTN in Nashville, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Can you imagine that?
That makes me so angry.
I am like, people can't tell, but I'm seething. I am seething because Colorado, when I lived there over 10 years ago, I came from Colorado to here. I lived in Denver, this area. I remember this was like God's country.
Oh, beautiful country.
Beautiful, a lot of resources. And so I think part of what makes it makes you so angry is that the Biden administration, Jared Polis, the leftists on the Aurora City Council, they simply refuse to even acknowledge that there is a problem. And so I don't know how local talk radio in Denver is not screaming about this and, calling the governor's office and saying, why the hell are you not taking care of this problem? And really putting it out there. to me, that's part of the job of talk radio. If when you see something like this, and illegal immigration and everything that we've seen going on at our southern border and in all of these sanctuary cities, not only in Denver, but also San Francisco and Los Angeles. You can talk about Washington, D.C. We know what's going on in New York. And there's one administration that let this happen, and that is the Biden administration. And Kamala Harris is running for president. She is one half of that administration. And how is it possible that no one in the Biden administration has anything to say about what's happening there, just like Jared Polis, the Democrat governor of the state of Colorado, also has nothing to say. It is just, so what really pisses me off is the fact that, number one, it's been allowed to happen. We've all been screaming, including Donald Trump has been saying for years. He has been saying that this exact thing would happen. And they allowed it to happen. And now they're all silent on it. So you've got the warning from Trump that went ignored. You've got now the actual problem has made its way into American cities, illegal immigration and the crime. And so now that's happened. And now the left is utterly silent on this. And so you've got three things there, and I'm pissed off about all three of them.
And I'm really pissed off at the Republicans that are doing nothing. I'm more angry with them than I am the left, because the left I expected, but out of Republicans, I expect more.
We're talking earlier it was way a long time ago. It's been a busy show, but in the 5 o'clock hour, I was talking about in San Diego, where you had these about 20 illegal aliens that tried to get on a school bus full of kids in San Diego. I mean, my God, what is it going? You know what, Johnny? I shudder to think when I say, my God, what is it going to take to get some attention to the problem of illegal aliens from the media and from Democrats and from Kamala Harris? I shudder to think about what it would take.